I want to end with a story. I went to a supermarket, and I know this sounds creepy, but I saw this woman in front of me who was checking out, and I saw that she had a lot of party platters and stuff going on, and 2-liter bottles, and so I was like, it's like you're having a party. I didn't do this, but don't judge me. Some of you were judging me, stop that. So, I was just like, oh, looks like you're having a party. She's like, well, yeah, my boys are coming home. I'm like, oh, your boys? I was like, you know, how old are your boys? And she said, well, I have one that's 24 years old and one that's 34 years old. I was like, oh, that's really cool. I was just like, so just a family get together? And she was like, yeah, we're just chilling. I was like, oh, is it just the 2 boys that you have? And she's like, well, actually what happened is that first thing I said was, there's a 10-year gap between your 2 boys. I was like, interesting. And she said, well, actually, I had 2 other pregnancies in between my 2 boys, and they were premature. One was 29 weeks, one was 31 weeks. And because they were so premature, they died. And she said, you know, one passed away a month after they were born, another one passed away 2 days after they were born. So I'm like, I'm really sorry to hear that, I'm really sorry. And I said, that must have been really difficult. And she said, well, the more difficult thing was that I've actually been pregnant 12 times. I was like, what? I was like, that's not sex. I didn't say that, but would have been inappropriate at a grocery store. What? Get you some. No. I was like, that's a lot. I was like, that's a lot of sex. And so I said, 12 pregnant. I was like, so you have your 2 boys, you have the 2 premature births, what were the other 8? And she said, well, let me tell you. I had a boyfriend, we had sex, and I made a choice to terminate the pregnancy. She said, that boyfriend and I decided to get married. We got pregnant again. That was a miscarriage. And then we had my current 34-year-old. Now, the 34-year-old, she explained it to me, it was really weird. She said, he has about 3/4 of his palm. So she said what happened is when he was born is he had 3/4 of his palm, and then where the finger should be, there's a ball there. And so it was interesting, it was really interesting. And so I was like, I was trying to visualize it. And so I said, okay, so, you know, he was born without a left hand. She said he also had a lot of asthma problems. And so then she said, I had a miscarriage or 2. It was actually a daughter. I think she said her name was Jennifer. And she said Jennifer was born, she lived for a month. She said I had a few more miscarriages. I named my son Michael. He was born and he died 2 days after he was born. Had a few more miscarriages. And after the 11th pregnancy, we kind of thought, my husband and I thought, maybe we're only meant to have 1 child. And she told me, she said, the reason why I was trying to get pregnant so much is because my husband and I wanted, more than anything, to have a 2nd child. We loved our first child. We absolutely loved our first child. She said, but my husband and I really wanted a 2nd child. And she said, and we just kept trying, and then after the 11th pregnancy, which was a miscarriage, she said, we thought that we were done. And she's like, and all of a sudden, the way she explained it was just like, and then I got pregnant. I was like, and then you got pregnant? It was like, what happened? And so she said that she was pregnant again, and I was like, and so this is your 24-year-old? She's like, yeah. And I was like, how's he doing? She's like, he's great. He was born very healthy. He has both of his hands and didn't have any medical complications. I'm like, well, that's absolutely fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. That woman was my mother. And I'm the 12th pregnancy. If my mom and my dad did not push through to have a 2nd child, I would not be here yet.